Hello everyone, this is Pal Pondra Weather coming at you with another video. Today is Tuesday, January 21st. In this update, we're going to be talking about the next snowstorm that's going to be impacting areas from Wednesday morning all the way through Sunday evening. So before I do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. All right, so let's get started. So here, let's start off with the overall watches and warnings, and you actually don't see this too often. We've got winter weather advisories all the way down to the deep south. Eastern Oklahoma is under a winter weather advisory, as well as Arkansas, much of Missouri, into Kansas and Nebraska, and all the way into Iowa as this next winter storm is taking shape. Now let's look at some of the overall temperatures. We talked about this cold blast that's actually been infiltrating much of the United States, and that cold air has now reached the deep south. And these are tomorrow morning's actual temperatures for the southeast, and you can see widespread 20s all the way into Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, much of the Carolinas, and even Florida is getting the action where all this blue shaded area is expected to be below freezing coming up on Wednesday morning. And you can see the actual wind chills are even colder than that. You've got widespread teens. I think in Atlanta you had 16 this morning, and you're going to be just as cold tomorrow morning, and widespread 20s for much of Florida. So you actually don't see that too often, because they've got wind chill advisories. And also, I thought this was pretty hilarious. They've got falling iguanas possible. You know, apparently these iguanas are like cold-blooded creatures, right? So, you know, they like to climb trees, but you know, when temperatures get this cold, they become slow or typically immobile. So they actually fall from the trees, and they're not dead, but they just don't move because they're not used to this cold weather. So they've got a falling iguana advisory tomorrow. So I thought that was pretty funny, but. Let's look at the overall surface map now. So now this developing winter storm, I've studied the latest GFS model, the GEFS model, the latest Canadian model, the NAM, and I think the European has the best overall grasp of this upcoming winter storm. So this is what we're going to go over. It's got the developing storm, the specific jets racing across Texas. We got widespread rain in the Dallas-Fort Worth area starting at about midnight. But just on the east side, this is the 6 o'clock in the morning surface map, and we've got some snow mixed with the rain breaking out in far northeast Texas. And this is going to infiltrate just because the timing of going to be reaching the coldest part of the day of that precipitation, mix it in with that cold air. We're going to have some mixed in snow breaking out in the northeast Texas, and that's going to infringe eastern Oklahoma and start to creep into Arkansas as well, and then obviously mixed in with more colder air up in Kansas and into Nebraska, and we got more snow breaking out into Iowa. If we actually take it out another frame, we can see that surface low developing, spreading more cold rain into Texas, and now spreading into Louisiana. On the south side, we've got the rain. Now we're seeing some mixed precipitation spreading into Missouri. It's starting to change over on the north side to snow, and then the snow is breaking out in Indiana, Iowa, and this is now creeping into Wisconsin. If we actually take it out another frame, now this is Thursday morning time frame around 6 a.m. We got the range of the south. We still got this developing low that it's going to be deepening, going to be spreading over much of Missouri. That's going to spread into Nebraska, southern Iowa. Now it's going to spread in much of Illinois. You're going to get in the action, and some parts of Indiana, and that's as this swings up to Wisconsin. Now, this will actually deepen even further as this low kind of gets its act together and brings in more cold air from the north. But on the south, we got the rain entrenching in, and on the north side, we've got those cold winds filtering in more snow. So some heavier, moderate snow now into Missouri and parts of Kansas, Nebraska, into Iowa as this deepens and starts to really encroach into places like Chicago and much of Illinois is going to be hit with the snow. It's kind of a longer duration event for Illinois. And you can see this low starts to deepen now. Now, this is Friday morning around 6 o'clock in the morning. So this low is still around, dumping more snow into Missouri now. So for about a day and a half, you're going to be getting the snow in even much of Illinois, especially northern Illinois into Chicago, and southern Wisconsin is going to be getting the action. But if you're on the western side of Indiana, I think you see the snow, but it's going to transition to rain on the eastern and the southern side of Indiana, and especially into Ohio. But if we take it out another frame, now this is kind of a 1-2 punch. Now this the first developing system is going to be bringing off this first initial low. So there's going to be dumping more snow by Friday evening into Illinois, and on rain on the other side. But if we take it out another frame, that low pretty much dies off, and we've got a kind of a dry slot that's actually developed in eastern Indiana and especially Ohio, where I think you just get left out of the snow on this one. But we've got this another surface low that's actually going to develop and start impacting the Northeast. And now this is coming up on Saturday morning at 6 o'clock. We've got this low pressure developing. It's spreading more snow. I think Pittsburgh gets kind of left out on this, but on the northern side of Pennsylvania, you'll be starting getting some light to moderate snow start to encroach on the north side of this developing low. If we take it out another frame, some of the bigger cities are going to be left out of this, like Philly, places like New York. I think you're just too far south. You're going to be getting all rain with this one. But on the north side, spreading into all snow, we're going to have in the middle, you have that ice event. But especially in the higher elevations, this is more or less an interior event, I think, dumping some heavier snow and even some higher amounts, especially as we get closer to the lakes. If we take it on another frame, now you can see this developing low is still deepening, and this is over a 6 to 12 hour time span. So this low really doesn't travel too much. So you can get some higher totals with this. Now, of course, this is Tuesday evening. Now we're talking all the way into Saturday night here, so we still got a ways out to track this one. But I think this has actually a good feel of what this storm is actually going to be doing, dumping light to moderate snow into parts of Pennsylvania and then definitely upstate New York. And now we're seeing the snow into Connecticut and Massachusetts and starting to encroach into Vermont and New Hampshire. Now, if we take it out another frame, now we're getting into Sunday evening, or Sunday morning rather, about 6 a.m. And we see this low pressure still around. So we're dumping some snow as we're getting into upstate New York, into Vermont, into New Hampshire. Now we're starting to creep into the state of Maine. Now, this is about noontime on Sunday now. This low pressure is still off the coast. So now it's over like around the Boston area. But on the north side, you're going to be dumping some heavier snow amounts on northern Vermont and New Hampshire, especially into Maine, especially along the coast now, where I think this kind of stalls out and kind of hugs the coast. So we could be seeing some higher snow amounts, especially on the southern side. And you can see this low pressure. If we take it on another frame, now this is actually Sunday night now, and this is kind of winding down. But so it kind of hugs the coast and stalls out. Then it'll swing off to the east, but still dumping some leftover snow on the north side. So now let's take a look at the overall snow amounts for this developing storm. Like I said, this is kind of like a 1-2 punch with this event. This is that first low pressure, and this is the second low pressure. So that first one's going to be dumping snow on the far northeastern parts of Texas, and dumping some heavier accumulations, like 1 to 2 amounts in eastern Oklahoma, dumping a little bit heavier amounts. And you can see the grid down here at the bottom into Kansas and Nebraska. So as this low deepens, now St. Louis, I think you're on the little drier side of this one. So you might be getting about 1, 2, maybe 3 inches possible. but places like Columbia, Missouri, are going to be hitting some of the heavier amounts, say 6 inches with this one, and especially in interior Iowa, where you'd be getting some higher totals as this low deepens. Now, like we talked about, this is going to be a long duration event for Illinois. So you could be seeing some higher totals, especially the center to the northern part of Illinois. And so places like Chicago, I'm thinking 6+ inches with this one. So we can fine tune as this goes on, but this is going to be a long duration, lighter snow event for Illinois. And then southern Wisconsin is going to get in the action too, with several inches. But you can see on the western side of Indiana, I think you get into the snow, but we're going to hit a dry slot into much of western Indiana and especially Ohio as that first low kind of just fades off and kind of loses its punch. But on the north side, we'll be getting some more, some snow into Michigan. And then as that second low develops, it'll start developing. I think, like say places like Pittsburgh kind of misses out on this one, but just on where you've seen the majority of the snow this year so far, I think places like Washington D.C., Philly, and unfortunately you're going to be missing out on this one, like New York. This is going to be more of an interior event, I'm thinking. So some heavier snows into central and northern PA, and especially as we get into northern New York, and especially by the lake, you could be seeing some higher totals of 12 inches in some isolated spots here. And you can, like I said, you can see the little graph. But places like Connecticut's going to get into the action, Massachusetts. But some of the higher totals are going to be, again, into Vermont and New Hampshire. And especially as this low pressure kind of hugs the coast and kind of stalls out for 6 to 12 hours there, you could be getting some higher totals along the coast before this actually swings out later into Sunday night, especially into Monday morning, but dumping some heavier, like moderate snows into Maine on the southern side this time. So that'll kind of give you an overall feel of what I think this next snowstorm and how this is going to play out from Wednesday morning all the way through Sunday evening. Be sure to like this video and definitely leave your comments below, and please share with your friends on social media that those are impacted in the area. Please subscribe to my channel and definitely catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.